Just a quick update, it's been a while, but my World Builder and Scene Editor now has the full background stream loading functionality built into it. So I'm just going to quickly load up a world here. I'm going to load up my little test island. Give that a few seconds to spool in. Now what you'll see in the top right hand corner here is a memory counter, so you can see that as it's loading in all its data, setting up the world, it's increasing the memory usage. And once the game starts, you'll see, as I demoed before, all the background textures streaming in. Oh, there we go. So now we're up to 1,358 megabytes used because there's quite a lot of objects up close in the scene and they're all using high quality textures and up close. So it's filled up the memory quite nicely. If I just zoom up into the sky, once I get beyond a certain distance, you'll see that the memory usage in that top corner is dropping right down. So you can see now it's dropped down to 1,025 megabytes. Now a lot of that's used up in the landscape, but if I just come in again, as I get closer to the objects, you'll see it's starting to fill up that memory again. Now this is not only functional with external objects, it's fully functional with internal scene objects. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to check which one this is. This is 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to load in a scene here. I'm going to pick house 4. Load up 20 objects and it's loaded all those in. And again, you can see there that memory is adapted because it's loaded the textures for all these objects as needed. And so what I'm going to do is just quit out of there and get rid of those objects once again. Now if I move over to the other side of this island, I've set up a little scene. Now you can see again my memory usage has dropped down to 1,026 megabytes because I've moved away from that high quality scene. But as I move into another scene, you'll see that memory starts to pile up again, and that's all happening in real time in the background. So now it's loaded in the assets for these things, and again, if I move up into the sky, you can see it drops right back down again, and I can zoom right into the scene I was at before. Now it's a little bit jittery inside the editor, and that's only because the editor is doing quite a lot of real-time checking, varying different things in the background. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to quit out of the editor just now, and I'm going to run the actual game. Now this is the game engine, it's going to load that exact same scene. I'm just going to grab my joypad, only this time it will give you real world game performance. So the world's going to load up, and this time because it's going to load a bit faster, you're going to see a lot of the terrain texture details streaming in as they load. You can see all the paths and grass textures and all are missing, but they're slowly getting there. Now in the bottom left hand corner I've put in a memory counter there, so you can see it's using 1,515 megabytes of RAM, and that's what needs to load up this world. So it's slightly higher footprint than the editor, but that's just some additional stuff that the game's doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come over to this house here, and if you watch the 1,515 as I go to the internal scene, there's that scene I edited in the editor earlier on, and you can see it's loaded in real time all the graphics it needed for those. And all those objects have been loaded in when I've entered the house. Now once I leave the house, they'll all disappear again. Go, and we're back down to the 515. Now I've created a few sample houses in this little world to test all this. In this house, for example, you can see it's up to 1583 because there's different objects in here with different textures applied to it. Let's start doing, ignore the door, that's a bit of a fix. Just come back into the world, and again we're back down to that 15. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to jump on my wee raft, and I'm going to sail to the other side. Now as I move around, you'll see that the memory is going to jump about as the distance I am from high quality objects increases and decreases, and the engine decides that it does or doesn't need those high quality textures. Now you'll see there's no lag whatsoever in the game. There's a lot of the background checking which is still tier 1 code in the editor. I haven't quite got them converting all to tier 2 yet. It's not running, so all the pauses there are completely replaced. And what I will stress is that most of the code for this is tier 1 at the moment, and some elements of it tier 2. As I get down to this side, you can see my memory is jumping into the world. I'm just going to come off my little bath. Going to my little scene here. Again, that says up to 1440, so this side of the map requires 1440 megabytes. Now this is completely independent. You can make the world as complex or as simple as you want. It will automatically pull in all the graphics as needed, and it does this through a 2-tier system. So larger graphics do it to main block chunks, and smaller ones do it to an actual streaming of main blocks in the background. So there's two separate background loading systems coming here, and they'll run concurrently. So the landscape, for example, you don't need to load those graphics in particularly quickly, so distant chunks textures will swap to a low res version, but as you approach them, it'll do a slow streaming method that's very, very low impact. It's almost negligible, including mobiles. But larger objects, they'll use a different methodology that can load in much larger textures at a much, much faster rate, which is obviously really good. I think one of my other videos I showed that within 2.5 seconds I've loaded about 2 gigabytes worth of graphics into the node. So, you see here, so I'm just wandering over to the other village, and I've got 1,294 megabytes of memory usage. Again, I'm just gonna, as I get a bit closer, you'll start to see that pop up. Now what you can see in the trees is a little bit of grey ghosting going on. It's because I haven't actually updated the shader in the game. I fixed that shader in the editor, so that doesn't happen anymore. But if you watch the tree, you'll actually see as I look slowly, the engine swapping from the low to the high quality texture, and there it goes. You can actually see in that tree in the foreground, you can actually see those textures swapping over. Now it's pretty seamless, and as I walk towards the village, even if I run quite quickly, you'll see there's no real stuttering or slowdown whatsoever in the frame rate, but all those graphics are quite happily loading in seamlessly in the background. Now that code works in Tier 1, PC and on mobile. Again, just to prove the point, walk all the way back over to this building, and go back inside, and all that internal scene loads up here, and I can pick up the objects, I can move them down, I can reposition them, and do all the things you used to be able to do before, and you have a seat. You get a bit tired, and it all works seamlessly in real time.